For the record, we all had our masks on when we walked in. I saw that. All right, well, good morning. I know everybody has a lot of things happening today, so I want to welcome you and go ahead and get us started. I'm Port Houston Commissioner Wendy Montoya Clunan, and I also serve as chair of the Port's Business Equity Committee. Today, as we officially kick off Port Houston's Minority and Women Business-Owned Enterprise Program within our newly formed Business Equity Division, I would like to welcome each of you, and yes, let's clap for that. Let us clap for that. I want to welcome each of you and express my sincere appreciation for y'all being here and your participation in this historic day. I'm going to say that again. This is a historic day for the Port, so I want one more round of applause for that. So as you know, the Port's mission is to, and I quote, move the world and drive regional prosperity. Port Houston exists to create a positive economic impact in our region that we also work to equate to a positive social impact for people. For many residents, that means delivering goods and creating jobs to support their families. For many business owners, that means supporting their success through opportunity to do business with Port Houston. Small minority and women-owned business enterprises support thousands of employees in our region, boost our local economies, and provide meaningful services and goods in our communities. And here's a good fact. Since 2002, Port Houston has awarded more than $612 million in contracts and awards to small businesses. And we will continue offering opportunities for small firms to do business with us, supporting their growth and advancement. In April, as you may know, the Commission unanimously approved a race and gender conscious procurement initiative based on metrics received from our disparity study. And I want to repeat that, unanimously approved.
All right.
I'm very proud of that. So July 1st technically marked the official start of Port Houston's MWBE program, which will exist alongside our small business program under this umbrella of business equity. As a community partner and economic pillar, Port Houston has a duty to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. And paving the way for small and MWBE firms to do business with Port Houston ultimately means honoring the diversity of Houston's business community, creating equitable opportunities for all to participate in our contracting, and including more businesses in our large portfolio of vendor partners. It means making a difference in the lives of people who seek opportunity. I'm thrilled to report that MWBE partner vendors are eager to work with us, and over 100 new vendors have already submitted applications. Port Houston's initiatives will benefit from their contributions for the years to come. As part of the commitment to paving the way for increased diverse participation, Port Houston is taking several steps in implementing targeted strategies, which include a minority and women-owned enterprise initiative with a 30% aspirational goal, establishing the new Port Houston Business Equity Division that will report directly to our executive director, and sharing upcoming project forecast reports to expand opportunities for MWBEs and identify potential projects for unbundling. For Port Houston, business equity is more than just another program or initiative. It is a fundamental principle in the way we will do business and connect with our communities, which will respect the diversity of the region we serve. Thank you. So now I would like to recognize our elected officials that are with us here today, and we're going to hear from each of them. First of all, we have the Honorable City of Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner. The Honorable Harris County Commissioner of Precinct 2, Adrian Garcia. And the Honorable Harris County Commissioner of Precinct 1, Rodney Ellis. We'll hear from them in just a minute. I also want to recognize and acknowledge one of my fellow Port Commissioners who is here with us today, Commissioner Cheryl Creuzot.
All right.
Though I chair the Business Equity Committee, I have to say that I did not do this alone. I think everyone knows that. It takes a village. Commissioner Creuzot was a vocal supporter and an advocate in this journey. She was, at every Business Equity Committee meeting, and she lent her unwavering support, and I called on her for anything and everything, so thank you. And just an FYI, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that our port chairman, Rick Gumpel, had a previous commitment and could not be here with us today, but he sends his greetings. He was also an unwavering advocate in enabling our efforts to implement our business equity initiative. So I also want to thank Port Houston's Executive Director, Roger Gunther, whom you'll hear from in a little bit. Thank you for your leadership on this initiative and your commitment to push this through and see this through. I also want to mention the MWB program would not have been possible without the support and invaluable input from our partnering certifying agencies, and 3 of them are with us today, and you will hear from them later. But we have Ingrid Robinson, who's president of the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council. We have Maya Hyman, who is our corporate relations coordinator for the Women's Business Enterprise Alliance, and Tim Jeffcoat, who is our district director of the U.S. Small Business Administration in Houston. We also have joining us via Facebook Carol Guess, who's our interim president and board chair of the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce, and present with us today, Dr. Lara Murillo, president of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and Paul Gore, community development director of the Asian Chamber of Commerce. So thank y'all for being here. And thank you for your support, your commitment to being partners on which we can count. So thank you. So now I'm going to turn it over to our Honorable Mayor Sylvester Turner. I want to acknowledge his example he set on the diversity efforts at the City of Houston, and he was very quick to lend his support for what we wanted to do here at the port. So thank you, Mayor. You've set a high bar for leadership in this pivotal area.
Thanks, Madam Chair, and all of the Port Houston commissioners and the executive director, Rick, in his absence, but I want to thank him on his leadership. Look, this is a historic moment, and I don't want us to miss it. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be here, because this doesn't happen every day, and it hadn't happened in a while. So please give it up again. This is major. Because the reality is that the action that Port Houston has taken, the significance of it, will not just stay at the port. It goes throughout the whole region and beyond. And it's not just businesses that will benefit, but families will benefit, and the community will benefit. So I don't want us to just to glaze over it as if it happens every day. Because I can tell you, talking to Commissioner Garcia and Commissioner Ellis, these conversations have been going on for quite some time. I also want to note that things don't happen without the right people in the right chairs at the right time. That's right. So I certainly want to acknowledge and thank the chair, Rick Campo. I want to do that. And I want to thank all of the commissioners. But I do want to give a shout out to these women. So I want to do that. I don't want to lose that moment. I don't want to lose that moment either. So, Madam Chair, thank you for your leadership. Okay, and thank you for your leadership. And to Commissioner Crusoe, thank you for your leadership. It does not go unnoticed. Look, I'm not going to talk for a long time. I certainly want to begin by congratulating Port Houston on the creation of its new Business Equity Division. And as we all know, Houston's local small businesses are what fuels our city economic stability, and the leaders of these chambers can certainly attest to that. For this reason, it is vital that we do whatever is necessary to ensure that they have meaningful opportunities to participate in our procurement processes to help them grow and thrive. And it's not just about getting into the door, it's also about building capacity. Okay, and with this Business Equity Division, the port now has the ability to facilitate a vigorous race and gender conscious program that strengthens, support, and expands contracting opportunities for minority and women-owned business enterprises at the port throughout the city of Houston and our local region. And neither do I want to underscore the importance of the executive director. Because one thing I do know, the executive director has a great deal of say on how things happen. You can have the commissioners, just like you can have the city council persons, but let me tell you, it's the people that are there to carry it out, to carry out the operation, that means a great deal. So Roger, let me just thank you and acknowledge you and appreciate you. You know this organization in and out, and the people that have interfaced with Port Houston for a number of years. So thank you for your leadership. And I'm very proud to say that the City of Houston Supplier Diversity Program shares the Port's goals. We are committed to promoting a diverse and inclusive contracting process which will allow for a spectrum of possibilities for MWSBEs to participate in the city's procurement. The purchasing power of the city reaches all aspects of Houston and greatly benefits neighborhoods, families, and businesses of all sizes. And it just dawned on me, you know, with what Port Houston is doing, what Houston has been doing, with what the county is now doing, combined with what Metro is doing, this ecosystem has just taken off. So the City of Houston spends billions of dollars annually with external contractors to maintain its operation and infrastructure. During fiscal year 2020, the city awarded over $3.5 billion in contracts, with over $765 million having been awarded to minority, women-owned, and small business enterprises in 2020 alone. We continue to have a very robust directory of over 4,500 certified firms, ranging in areas of expertise from construction services to legal services, architecture, engineering, and finance, and to business services and information technology, just to name a few. And let me just say that while Houston, our local region, and cities throughout the United States are fighting to bounce back from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, our MWSBEs continue to face many challenges. And we must come together to make certain that we are maximizing opportunities for MWSBEs, to assist them with competing and to provide them with the tools they need to help boost their businesses to the next level. If our MWSBEs are underutilized and left out of the loop, it is not only a loss for them, but also for the communities in which they operate and for our Houston and local region. And there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Well, today, it also takes that very same village to cultivate a business. And with the Port Houston's Equity Initiative, we can be that village to create pathways of stability and growth through future partnerships, initiatives, and collaboration. And then lastly, the City of Houston looks forward to its continued partnership with Port Houston to collaboratively benefit business development programs and initiatives that will facilitate equitable access to contracting opportunities, as well as assist in increasing the capacity of minority and women-owned businesses, which will support them in their scalability. And when you combine Port Houston with the City of Houston, with Harris County, with Metro, quite frankly, this region really ought to be the region that takes off. So we're not building back, we're building better, and we're doing it in a new way. And this day is historic, and we shouldn't pass over it very quickly. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mayor. And now I'd like to bring up Harris County Commissioner Precinct 2, Adrian Garcia, but not before I talk about him for a minute. So first of all, the commissioner has a port in his precinct, and we're lucky to have him. He was a leader and instrumental in the creation of the county's Department of Economic Equity and Opportunity, and his efforts at the county were only preceded by his efforts in this same arena when he was on city council. He quickly became an advocate when I told him what we wanted to do here at the port. So thank you, Commissioner, for your unwavering support and for being with us here today. I also want to take a moment of personal privilege and thank the Commissioner for his confidence in me to spearhead me on nominating me to the port and allowing me to be on the port, and then that in turn gave me the opportunity to tackle this important effort. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clunan, and Mayor, good to see you. Commissioner Ellis, Roger, and to all port commissioners, but to the ladies. You're absolutely right, Mayor. I ain't gonna miss that one either. But I'll just say, look, sometimes, Dr. Murillo, when you want something done and you want it done right and you want it done fast, you give it to a lady to get it done. So commissioners, thank you, thank you. But I will simply say that I was sharing with Commissioner Ellis that the kind of deal that this is. And Mayor Turner has alluded to it, and it just made me go back at a time in history when there was a president who was doing a pretty significant thing in the arena of healthcare. And the vice president at the time, who happens to be the president today, leaned over and said, "Mr. President, this is a big deal." I leaned over to Commissioner Ellis, I said, "This is a big deal." It is. And because obviously we know the economic footprint that is generated right here at the Port of Houston. 700,000 jobs from terminal activity makes it the #1 ranked port in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico, providing or handling 69% of the U.S. Gulf container traffic that comes through the area. And so recognizing all of the various impacts that come through here, you know, the 1.3 million jobs in Texas and over 3 million nationally, and then recognizing that it just earlier this year, the Port of Houston has been awarded a New Start designation of nearly $20 million in federal funds by Congress to secure construction that will help deepen and widen the port. What a great opportunity to launch this business equity initiative, but with a deepening and widening of the port. So Roger, I am so proud of you, so excited for you. I'm excited for the commissioners because immediately with something else that's just as historic, the deepening and widening, you know, and that also makes me reflect that I don't think, someone will correct me, but I think the last time the port was deepened and widened may have been when the port was first dug. And so it's good to be in the right place at the right time when history is taking place. And let me just say, Commissioner Clunan, that already in your quick and short tenure, you have helped to create a living legacy. There will be people who may not know and remember any one of us, but they're going to be getting an opportunity, as the mayor alluded to benefit their families. And let me just say, the reason I don't want, as the mayor also said, to lose sight of how historical this moment is. Because when I asked for the permission to serve the citizens of Precinct 2, I always talked about 5 things. The fact that Precinct 2 has amongst the lowest median income of all Harris County. The fact that Precinct 2 has amongst the lowest home ownership rate, probably because people don't make as much. More people rent where they live than they own. Precinct 2 has amongst the lowest educational attainment rate, because young people are making tough decisions to support their families. They're not graduating from high school, and they're not graduating from universities and colleges, probably because they're dropping out to come back and support their families. Precinct 2 has amongst the highest rates of diagnosed cancer and asthma. Precinct 2 has amongst the lowest number of children and families with health insurance. All of that is rooted in economics. And so to have the doors of the Port of Houston, they've been open, but now they've been thrown wide open, will be a game changer for families in Precinct 2. And so the only thing that I will add with a place to start this initiative being the deepening and widening of the port is also to challenge the port, as I challenge my team in my precinct, to find businesses in Precinct 2 to participate in these opportunities so we can grow capacity, we can grow competence, we can grow businesses. I have never met in all of my years, either as a cop patrolling the streets of Houston or as a chair of the MWB committee, interacting with chambers of commerce, as the commissioner day, as the sheriff. I've never yet met one small business person that says, help me stay small. And so today is an opportunity to grow businesses that reflect the rich fabric of what is Houston, Harris County. And the fact that since the Port of Houston is an international commodity that we have here, then it also should in turn reflect the world. Congratulations to everybody. I'm so honored to be here with my colleagues. Commissioner Ellis, thank you for your life's work in equity and opportunity for all people. And I'm just so proud to be amongst this distinguished guest group to participate in this historical deal.
Thank you, Commissioner. And now I'm going to introduce Harris County Commissioner Precinct 1, Rodney Ellis, who has also been an instrumental leader and proponent in the creation of the county's Department of Economic Equity and Opportunity. His leadership across the county now in this work preceded only by his efforts when he was a state senator. I'm sure we all know about his work in business and education. Just some of the things he's done made him a natural champion and advocate of our efforts here at Port Houston. Thank you for your leadership and example, Commissioner.
Thank you, Wendy. Mayor, you look great. The mayor just got back from vacation. That's a heck of a deal. You can lose weight when you go on vacation. It was a father-daughter trip. I'm so proud of him. I'm glad to be here with you, Commissioner Garcia, because you've been such a breath of fresh air. Judge Hidalgo could not be here. I showed up with no ID because she called me to tell me we were going back to level orange, Mayor. And she said, I hear water. I said, well, I'm in my swimming pool. So we just talked for a while, and then she said, I thought you said you were in the pool. I said, yeah, but you're the judge, you kept talking. But she apologized, she couldn't be here. But she did make the comment that this is a remarkable step forward, and is with deep regret that she can't be here. The port is the crown jewel of our economy, but like economic opportunity, the port has not historically been accessible at all. We've worked hard to knock down barriers, and I congratulate the Business Equity Committee and all we have strived to make this moment possible. Together, we're ensuring that our county continues to be a model for opportunity and competition, and that entrepreneurs aren't fighting with one hand tied behind their back. And that's important to make that point. You women, I'm so proud of you for leading this effort. Roger, it's so important that this report directly to you. And I know that our mayor and Commissioner Garcia and I all called to chime in on, but it really is important. Why are our numbers so bad? Because good people were just reluctant to speak out. We didn't even collect the numbers. We had the program here, just flip it on, B2G now. We just didn't turn it on. This port was built by 1907. Think about where we were as a county, as a nation in 1907. Some people had a leg up because they were given an advantage. This was the right thing to do. And I'm so proud of you for doing it. I'm proud of these chambers in particular for stepping up. I called Reverend Jesse Jackson on the way over here. You know, at one point when we were engaged in this battle to try and get the disparity study done, Reverend Jackson was coming to town, so I called over and told the leadership, not present leadership at the port, I said, you know, Reverend Jackson is threatening to come over here and have a march on the port. And I said, you know, just announced he has Parkinson's and he falls out here in this heat at the port. You know, and he's listening. He said, I didn't say I was going to march on. Shh, be quiet, Reverend. I've watched you all my life, but I want to thank him in his absence. But look, this should not have happened by accident. At Commissioner's Court, a bond issue was coming up after Harvey. The one thing I learned, I love that song, Hamilton, not gonna miss my shot. And I figured I'm gonna jam them up. Either they're gonna open these doors of opportunity, I'm gonna kill this bond issue. Now, I don't know if I really had the nerve to do it. It's probably like I was selling wolf tickets on Reverend Jackson coming out here with Parkinson's, marching on the port, but we raised it. I want to thank the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in particular. It was tough. People were about losing their banquets table. Ingrid, I want to thank you. The African American chambers that came. I want to thank those who wanted to come but were afraid. And make the point. This is a big deal today, but only if we have the measurements the metrics to come back and look. Mayor, not only the county, the metro folks, the port, Harris Health, I think they spend about $2 billion a year. They're doing that disparity study. I want to ask you and the judge, till I read a statement, to convene all four, just the stature of your office or her office. There ought to be things we can share, because we're late. City of Houston did this in 1984. I think the numbers, I don't have my notes, about 25% of the city's business goes to minority and women-owned businesses. It's important to help all businesses. But let's just be real, who's left behind? Some of these people who are mega monopolistic entities today were very small-time operators when this port opened, but they had the advantage. In particular, I want to make reference to those African Americans. I want to single them out for a reason. It's important that we do better with Hispanics, with Asian Americans, with white women, but African Americans throughout my political career have generally been the ones who have suffered the most from discrimination, fought the hardest to change it, and have benefited the least from changes that have come about. At the county, 0.5% of the county spending goes to African American owned businesses. I don't want to run through all of them. 0.5, not 5%, 0.5. Metro's disparity study was done a different way to pull them out in different categories. They have federal requirements they got to meet. For professional services, for African Americans, 0.5. 3.5% for goods and services. At the port, different method as well for pulling them out. For professional services, 2% for African Americans. Construction, 0.9. We can do better than this, and we should have done better a long time ago. So it's a big day. We want to congratulate ourselves today. But I can assure you, don't bank on Rodney being angry because I was disrespected so much with my distinguished colleagues at the county. I decided I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm going to get after everybody. Had no idea what the port was doing. Called over and asked for the numbers. Y'all remember that? And then somebody sent me a letter about all of the awards that the chambers I mentioned had given them. I made comment to the chair. Well, if you buy a table at my banquet, I'll give you a damn award too. But what are the numbers? So the challenge is 1 year from now to come back, have an event, and ask the question, have we done better? I'm proud of you. Let's get it done. Let's get after it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So thank you, Mayor Turner, Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Ellis, for your continued support. And I know y'all are going to continue to be advocates, and anytime I need a call on y'all, I know y'all will be there. So thank you. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to turn the program over to our Port Houston Executive Director, Roger Gunther.
All right. Well, good morning, and thanks, Commissioner Clunan. And this is a big deal, and appreciate you, Mayor Turner, Commissioner Garcia, Commissioner Ellis for joining. That makes it a bigger deal. And you know, as we kick off this MWBE Business Equity Initiative, the Port Authority's addressing DEI externally through greater equity in our procurement and contracting process, which is very important, and we're very proud of that. It's an initiative to create greater opportunity for minority and women-owned businesses to work with the Port Authority. It has started today. The initiative included, first of all, renaming what we had before as the Procurement and Small Business Development Task Force. That's too long to say anyway, but it is now the Business Equity Committee under leadership of Commissioner Clunan and other commissioners, and including Commissioner Crusoe. And thank you for your leadership on that. But along with that, this group developed a strategic policy with an aggressive 30% aspirational goal for participation. You know, and they tell you, if those goals don't scare you, you're not thinking big enough. So, you know, that's an aspirational goal, and for sure, the success of this program is going to be marked by measuring how we do. I can assure you of that. So, we also have created a strategic marketing plan. I think it's very important to get out to the community, as you mentioned, Commissioner Garcia, to have that outreach. So these steps that have been taken gave two big leaps and got us started. First, our Port Commission back in May, they created a DEI position statement. It was adopted. It's a forward-looking declaration, and I can tell you it's an internal mantra of our organization, of where we stand and what our vision and commitment is for the Port Authority. It's an opportunity to foster a culture of diversity, inclusion, innovation, and open communication. Secondly, this business equity division was added to the Port Authority, a new division that will report directly to me as the Executive Director of the Port Authority. It's very important. This new division will provide leadership and guidance for all the Port's activities and leadership in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and promoting equity and enhancing opportunity for all, not only externally, but internally as well. So I'm proud of that new division, and it's going to elevate the profile of DEI in the organization, but I can assure you it's going to have, and it already does, have the organizational support and leadership needed to produce meaningful and sustainable long-term change. And I can tell you that because we've got several members, and thank you for your words about the Executive Director, but this does not happen without a tremendous staff. Raise your hand. You guys are amazing in getting things done, all of you in here across the organization. And that commitment's there. So, I can assure you that we will be successful in the small business program, as well as the new MWBE initiatives, and we'll champion those DEI efforts. So the commitment's there, and we're very much looking forward to success in this. Before I introduce our next guest, I do want to mention that we have our caterer, who's a small minority women-owned enterprise. Nuxus is here today with some fine food, so we really appreciate them being here today. So I want to introduce next one of our success stories at Port Houston, Miss Shanita Johnson. She's the owner of BKJ Global Management Consulting. BJK is a local minority and women-owned firm, and it was founded by Ms. Johnson in 2014 that provides cutting-edge IT management solutions for growing businesses. Some of her customers included Fidelity National Title, Stewart Title, the Lower Colorado River Authority, and of course, Port Houston. Shanita is currently enrolled and in good standing with Port Houston Business Equity Program. Her initial work with Port Houston was a subcontractor back in 2019, where she was awarded her first prime contract at Port Houston. In February 2021, she was awarded a $150,000 prime contract to provide coordination services in support of the Next Generation Enterprise Resource Planning Phase 2 project. Shania is leveraged and currently holds certifications from the City of Houston. Here we go. City of Houston, Metro, Houston Minority Supplier Development Council, Women's Business Enterprise Alliance, and the State of Texas Hub Program. Shanita received her undergraduate degree in Computer Information Systems from the University of Phoenix, and she has over 20 years of experience in information technology industry. So if I may, Ms. Johnson, Shanita Johnson, will you please come up? Thank you. Thank you for your partnership.
Thank you, everyone. I am not a public speaker, so I don't speak as well as you all, but I am going to tell my story and the success story. So first I want to thank Port Houston for allowing me to speak and tell the story, and also want to congratulate you guys on this historic event of business equity and initiative and program. I'm honored to be here. So as Mr. Roger stated, we are a IT information technology firm where we focus on projects, project management, program management, process improvement, and also quality assurance. currently we are on the next gen ERP, and I like to say that is the second most important project here at Port Houston besides the deepening and the widening project. So as I quickly tell my success story here at the port, I want to make 4 to 5 points, and I'm going to speak directly to the MBEs that will be watching this. So I happened to meet the previous chairman here at the port at a restaurant. And quickly she asked me if I was a part of the Port Houston Small Business Program. She introduced me to Ms. Ramirez in small business, and upon being certified as a small business, HMSDC had a matchmaking event where I met with a small business team member at HMSDC. And the one thing that she said to me when I met with her, she said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to the decision maker in information technology because you're prepared. So the first point I want to make to MBEs is be prepared when you meet with Port Houston and you meet with the small business and business equity team. So upon that, what she did was between meeting with her and then meeting with the decision maker, it was about 6 to 8 months, guys. It took some time. And so the second point I want to make to MBEs is you have to have perseverance. This takes the time. You have to build relationships. You've got to meet with folks, and they have to understand that you're ready. So during that time, what do? You prepare before you have that meeting. So I became a subcontractor, and after becoming a subcontractor, that contract ended, and I was able to bid on and was awarded a prime position. Now, third point I want to make is the only reason why I was awarded that prime position because you have to come in and you have to show up and show out. So third point to MBEs is show up and show out. They have the resources here to help us grow, but you also need to do your part. So now from the prime position, we're now been awarded the largest contract here with Port Houston for us, as Mr. Roger alluded to, the next gen ERP, and we're running the project coordination services. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Prior to this contract, I was here working at the port helping. Some of the projects were the Office 365 upgrade, if you remember that, the SharePoint migration, and some other projects, data center upgrade. But because of Port Houston, I've been able to build capacity, and I was able to hire a full-time employee to work here at the Port Houston on this next contract. So they will help you build capacity. You must do your part. So the fourth point I want to make is understand the business culture where you're working. The projects that we manage, they're disruptive. They change the user base, they change systems, but to you MBEs, understand their culture. You can effectively communicate much better if you understand the business culture. So that's the fourth point I want to make. And lastly, what I want to say is during your downtime, your in-between time, you prepare again. That's why I said 4 or 5, depending how you look at it. Continue to prepare for that next contract, for that next client, for that next opportunity. Port Houston has Support University. They also have an interagency mentor protege program, which I was a part of. The program is excellent between Metro, City of Houston, HCC, Port Houston, to help you understand how to do business with these agencies. So you prepare again during your downtime and in between times. And so I want to say that again, prepare, persevere, show up and show out, understand the culture, and prepare again. So thank you for allowing me to be part of this event.
I'm gonna say, well, Shanita, despite what you said about public speaking, that was well said, well spoken, and well done. Congratulations to you on your success. And now we're going to have remarks from our Port Houston certifying agencies, if I can, or agency partners, rather, if I could ask them to come up here. Ingrid, April, and Tim, will you come up here and share some words with us? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ingrid Robinson, President of the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council, and I'm excited to be here. I love always being able to showcase our MBE, so I was excited when I saw Shanita's name on there, and I was also excited about Chef Yo and Newski's Catering, who will also be catering our reception and often caters a lot of events that we do. But I want to begin by thanking our commissioners here at the Port of Houston. Commissioner Clunan, Commissioner Cruzo, thank you so much for always having a open door and being able to listen. I want to thank you, Roger, for always having your staff be available to us. It has been invaluable to be able to have the opportunity to work so closely with your team. I want to thank Gilda Ramirez and the Small Business Program for always being there, for Tim Finley, who serves on our board of directors and always shares what the port is doing. And I want to talk about how momentous this opportunity is as well. It is a big deal. We have been talking about this for a long time in the former Small Business Task Force meetings. I often talked about how do we break down the numbers to understand the minority and women components of that number, because we always get comfortable talking about small business and minority and women businesses together. And then when you break those down, we often found that those minority businesses were always the smallest component of that number. And so we wanted to make sure that we started to bring visibility to those numbers. In order to be able to impact it, you got to know what it is that you're trying to drive to improve. So I want to thank you all for that support. I want to also thank the commissioners at Harris County. Every time I speak in front of the Commissioner's Court and talk about these issues, you all were always there and always supportive in making sure that we knew what was going on and could stay connected to it. And I often tell people that once you work for Rodney, and all disclosure, never stop working for Rodney, so they didn't tell me that when I was 20 years old. So, but I appreciate all of the support that he's given to drive these initiatives, and I tell people this is not a new passion for either one of you. This has been a lifelong passion. Rodney, from City Council creating that program to when I was in the first class of your internship program and you created the state's program, to now driving Harris County's program and a look at the ports program in Metro. So thank you for that. We really appreciate that. So I also wanted to mention, building on sort of the Hamilton theme, because that's one I've only seen it about 5 times. But our minority and women-owned businesses are young, hungry, and scrappy, or young, scrappy, and hungry, and looking for those opportunities. And this gives them that opportunity. We want to build capacity. We want to introduce them into new areas of opportunity. We are already looking at how do we help them transfer skills. Minority businesses who might be doing deep shore work, painting vessels and doing things in oil and gas, how can we help them to transition to support efforts here at the port? What kind of skills do they need to have transferability into new areas so that we can help them to grow and build that capacity? So we will be ready, willing, and there step by step with you to be able to do that going forward. I also want to talk about the impact of driving accountability. This is very important, and I think that by doing and taking the steps that you guys are taking here is going to help to do that. So thank you for also allowing me to serve on a Business Equity Advisory Council so that we can make sure that accountability is there, and I promise we will hold you accountable for the results. Finally, I want to talk about standing with the port and where you're going. I think it takes vision, I think it takes commitment, and I think it takes all of us as a community to do that. And I believe that as we talk about coming out of this economic recovery, public sector projects are going to drive the ability for our minority and women-owned businesses to grow quickly, as our private sector seems to take a little bit longer to be able to do that. Having these programs, having these goals, having community partners to work with is very important to do that. So I finally want to thank the community partners that are here today. All of us that work in business development, we don't do it for the money, I can tell you that. But we do it because we are committed to making a difference in our community. We're committed to making those organizations grow grow. So I also want to thank those that are in the audience today, including our chambers of commerce. Not working with you would make this job impossible to be able to do. So thank you, Laura. Thank you, Paul, and everybody that supports us and works with us to grow businesses. So we are committed to doing that, and thank you very much. And we want to celebrate this opportunity with you. This is a big deal.
All right.
Now we'll have Maya from the Women's Business Enterprise Alliance.
Hello, everyone, and thank you. My name is Maya Hyman, and I'm honored to speak on behalf of WBEA President Dr. April Day about the partnership between the WBEA and Port Houston and the MWBE initiative. WBEA has been Port Houston's certifying partner for nearly 20 years. We share a common goal of development and diversity, and together we have had much success in achieving this goal. Through this partnership, we have established a positive and constructive working relationship with the Port Houston Business Equity staff. They are responsive and adaptable to the evolving needs in the community. They stay on top of trends and watch out for the shifts in the industry, which will allow our WBEs to further get developed and have the capacity to do business with the port. And together, we have created high-level joint training and workshop opportunities, such as Port Small Business University, WBE Matchmaking Day, WBEA Meet and Greet Port Boat Tour, and how to do business with the Port of Houston to further prepare MWBEs to do business and have that capacity. So today, we applaud the Port Houston's efforts by establishing MWBE goals on contracts and procurements and creating training opportunities to further assist MWBEs to have a chance to compete for bids. And we look forward to this continued partnership to create equitable opportunities for all. Thank you.
Tim, do you want to come up on behalf of the U.S. Small Business Administration?
Thank you. So, hello everyone. So, a couple of words that I want to focus on today. The first is optimism. I'm responsible for SBA's activities in 32 counties of Southeast Texas. So not just right here in Harris County, but 31 others. And the thing that I see everywhere I go right now, and recently I've been in Lufkin and College Station and Lake Jackson and Beaumont, is optimism. I see businesses really optimistic about recovery. That correlates to this endeavor. This is creating and fueling that optimism. Another thing that I want to focus on, when I thought about the Port of Houston and how SBA relates with the Port of Houston, the word that comes to mind, it's not a flashy word, but it's a really important word, reliable. Incredibly reliable. Reliably participates in the many, many events that we hold in Houston. My office does about 1,400 events a year in Houston, and the Port of Houston is embedded in many of those. When we call, we know you're going to be there. It's a big deal because when we hold things like our big matchmaking event with 150 primes and government contractors, we know one of them is going to be the Port of Houston. And sometimes you have 2 or 3 tables to talk to as many businesses as possible. It's a very big deal. Reliably supports small businesses. Clearly, your small business program has been a real stalwart here in the area for small business growth, and now it's going to be even more flexible. Reliably assists small business with tools, such as, and I'm not just focusing on the SBA, but that is where I work, SBA's guaranteed lending programs and guaranteed bonding programs, because both of those help those contractors get bigger and bigger contracts with the port. Reliably team with us on our own programs that are similar. So our 8A programs, our Hub Zone programs, our women programs, and related. Reliably innovates. For sure, there's a lot of innovation at the port, and this is a great example of the innovation going on at the port. And it reminds me of a Thomas Edison quote, and I really like this one. Obstacles are those frightful things we see when we take our eye off the goal. And you have not taken your eye off the goal. So kudos to you. The SBA wants to thank you and congratulate you and compliment you for what you've done here. We fully realize that not all small businesses have the same playing field, and some businesses need a little help. They need a little opportunity that maybe they weren't getting before. This is going to make a difference. Thank you.
So we're going to wrap up here, but I want to thank the commissioners. I know the mayor had to run out. Everyone that was here today. I would be remiss if I didn't again mention Ingrid Robinson from the Houston Minority Supplier Development Council, Maya, Women's Business Enterprise Alliance, and Tim Jeffcoat, District Director of the U.S. Small Business Administration. I want to thank Carol Guess from the Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Laura Murillo, President of the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Paul Gore, Community Development Director for the Asian Chamber of Commerce, and then I also, I missed Karen Hudson, who is Deputy Director of Metro, for being here with us as well. I want to make one last final but important thank you to everyone here at the Port who not only worked tirelessly these last 6 to 8 months in getting us to this day, but going back to the disparity study and all of the work that has been done since then. A myriad of them have probably taken my calls at all hours and emails, and so thank y'all for indulging me in that. I just want to mention, and I know I'm going to forget someone, and I'm trying not to, but Gilda in the Small Business Department, it was a heavy lift, I know. Legal and the executive team, all of the executive team, I see Tom back there, thank you for your support. And government, community relations, I mean, it was a heavy lift by everyone. I mean, I can't imagine that it did not take every single person pulling together to get us to this day. So your work is recognized and appreciated. Thank you. I do look forward to working with each of you to ensure that our efforts are not in vain, that this is implemented effectively and with fidelity to realize the benefits that we envision, and ultimately what it comes down to is to realize the benefits and the opportunities deserved by so many in our community. So thank you, and that concludes our program.
Pictures.